Good afternoon. Usually I try and keep these as much to the day as possible, but I don't got a book and I keep hearing that mooncakes are better if you've made them like a few days in advance, so we're making them a few days in advance. What was that? You kind of moved like you were going to say something the moment I started pouring. Is there something I should know?
No. No.
Okay. Nope. Holding it in the wrong place. Ugh. There we go. Nope.
That's workable, I suppose, if it's like
Yeah, so
sloppy.
no kneading needed. I'm gonna in half an hour we'll be like, fuck.
Start again.
We actually had to stop. So that stop was directed at the fridge door. We had to stop because it was a nightmare. I think perhaps not needing it was a problem. I had to scoosh the casing with water, and then I had to like absolutely douse it in flour, and it was still falling apart a lot, so not great. We've also never, like stopped midway only to cook it the next day, so I don't know how that's going to go. The plan for today was actually to go to the library and get a book, because you kind of need one for a reading vlog. Unfortunately, my ass is very thoroughly being kicked by chronic fatigue, and I do not think that's going to happen, so Mum, it's stuck.
Oh no.
Oh,
Oh,
no, that's stuck. Whoop.
it's back in. Brute force.
So the oils soak through overnight, which is why you're not supposed to eat them immediately, but given that these do not have fillings and are also, for that reason, a little bit overcooked, I'm just going to have them tonight. The bit that I had was especially burned, but that aside, it was really nice. Usually I save the book for the day of, but I think I'm going to start tonight just for time. It is a kind of fake dating thing, but he doesn't want to get distracted by his not boyfriend because he has a mooncake making competition to win in order to save his aunt's takeaway. So I think it's going to be cute and fun, you know, good times. So as you can probably tell from my everything, I am so very awake and very much not in the throes of chronic fatigue. This is a miserable book for that, I will say, because it loves food and it describes food so well. And like, I'm fine, I can get up. It just makes me want to cry. It made me so hungry and I don't have any food up here. I do like Dylan though, even if he has the worst puns. It is a little... I think his voice is a little bit flat. It's not a complaint. I think it's the Scottish in me. It just sounds a wee bit dour, and I think that's nice. But I did not expect grief to be so present in this book, and I obviously am not foreign because they will not stop talking about food, but I think it's woven in really nicely, and the fact that it's tied in with the competition that he wants to win, yeah, it's really sweet. This also is not a complaint, but I know that it can be a little bit annoying for some people. It is very explanatory, you know, it's Ghost Month, so he tells you what Ghost Month is. We call people uncle even if they're not related to us, and I can never remember if Popo is grandma or grandpa, but you know, he says that and then he tells you what the English is.
Nico, this one, don't you?
I know it's such a bad angle, but I don't know if I'm going to be awake when it's at a better one. So, cheers. Some last thoughts for the night are that I really like his family, and I like the chemistry that he has with I don't remember which one I'm talking about. The boys have really nice chemistry. And I like that Theo has good intentions, but yikes, dude. So I do feel bad that I wasn't as in-depth with my mooncake making, not yesterday, but it kind of goes over a little bit of the process in the book, so that's another reason why I would recommend it. It's fantastic. I really, like, as a writer and as a story nerd, I love how perfectly everything is set up. So it's really funny to me that on the drive over to the wedding where he's fake dating is Dylan was like, it's like, you know, Crazy Rich Asians with that asshole boyfriend, and then they get there and it's like, oh, Theo. No, what have you done? Speaking of asshole boyfriends, But yeah, that kind of rosy glow of when Theo was first introduced is like completely gone by that point. Because before that he was like, we're gonna go get suits for the wedding because, you know, formal. And despite the fact that Dylan had agreed before, there were 2 days to make 2 suits. Can you, dude? Oh, for a moment, I genuinely hated him. I don't remember if it was here in these videos where I talked about how like perfect the setup was, but like again, the whole thing of setting it during the course of a wedding is just, it's so good. It works so well. Yeah, it's been a while since I read a book and was like, I love like the bones, the structure of it. So there's about 2.5 hours left in the audiobook. I know, it's slow going. Theo edged a little bit more onto my shit list over the course. But I also think, I know, with the violin, he kind of edged a little bit into too perfect as well, which is not my favourite thing. But they remain sweet, and I really, listen, I am a sucker for does not think he can be loved and does not want to get his hopes built up. And so, yeah, it's delicious. I will say though, as I have said, I think weddings are like great settings for romances because there is love in the air, and there is stress, and emotions are running on high. And I really didn't expect to like this section of the book as much. And to be fair, I didn't really, because I don't like Theo's family as much as I like Dylan's. But I was really surprised by how much I loved Nora's section. Yeah, it was very sweet and sad and hopeful. But also, I've been talking about how much I love the bones of this book and its structure, and 2.5-ish hours to go is like the perfect place to have kind of stopped, because we had all this tension and do I trust that he likes me, and it kind of all boiled over and came to a head, and I was like, you know, it was amazing. But there was like a very clear setup of what the conflict would be, and all I'm going to say is that it was better than I could ever have imagined. So much more satisfying and exciting, and yeah, I love this book. Really disappointing how much I really hate Theo at this point. The wedding was one thing, and it was kind of funny, the juxtaposition of their conversation. But this is the second event that Theo has not been honest about, and it's really kind of coming across as quite manipulative because he knows Dylan is not going to be comfortable if he tells him what's actually going on, and yeah, it sucks. Yeah, so writing up about the book, Speak No Evil did come to mind, which is partly on me, and I also just think not a great comparison to come to mind. Good morning. I did not think it was going to come on this fast, but it did, so you're going to have to deal with me horizontal. I did finish it though, and I do have some notes. First one is, it is not Nora. the point still stands. I really like her story arc, but her name is not Nora. They said it a lot. I could not tell you what it is. um, there's a really kind of nice, I guess, date at I think the Met Gala. I don't know. And my one note from that is, don't touch the temple of Jesus fucking Christ. Preservation, guys. But also it's the Met, so that might be the temple that they were gifted parts of. It also might be the one they stole. Done this twice now, dude, and they never deal with this in the story, and it's like it's quite manipulative, and I don't feel good that Theo was never confronted about it. That he never seemed to learn or to promise not to do this again. And I do like me a grand gesture, don't get me wrong, and this was a grand gesture that I quite liked, but at the same time, like, there's more stuff you're doing, Theo, that you're not being honest about, and that also leaves a bad taste in my mouth. I think the last thing that I talked about, though, was at like the 2.5 hour remaining mark. And I like the conflict, and I like the way it boiled over, and I like that it wasn't as simple as it necessarily seemed. It had depth. I would say that it also felt like the third act breakup. And unpopular opinion, I quite like the third act breakup, at least in theory. And it's funny because the problem I have with the third act breakup, and I know third act, but like, usually they have the breakup and then they get together again in the last chapter and there's an epilogue, and it's like, you really needed to have a little bit more space than that. And this one, there's 2.5 hours to go, and yet when we get to the end, it's like it wraps up so fast and really too neatly, if we're being honest. Yeah. Also, it involves like a heel turn from a character who showed no sign of being at all capable of that. That being said, I was kind of happy with it. All the same, I really appreciate this was the story where we got to spend a lot of time with Dylan's family. I really liked that when, relationship troubles came, that he related it to Changla, and that when, things started to resolve, that was also related to Changla. With the way it was going, I did not think I would finish the book first. But I do have some mooncakes left, so that is going to be my treat to myself because I do still like the book, but yeah, wanna soften the disappointment.